Good morning. I call the May 18, 2022 meeting of the Philadelphia City Commissioners to order. First, I will preserve the order and decorum of these meetings. Everyone in attendance should be on notice that shouting out or interrupting the proceedings will not be tolerated. Those who violate this will be asked to leave. The Sunshine Act permits anyone attending a public meeting to object to a perceived violation at any time during the meeting. If you choose to do so, please succinctly state your objection. Objecting is not an opportunity for speech making. We will now move to public comment. Commenters shall state where they live, or if they are not a resident of Philadelphia, that they are a Philadelphia taxpayer. Public comment is not an opportunity for dialogue or Q&A. It is public comment, a chance for you to tell us what you think. Each speaker shall have 2 minutes. However, I may extend this time at my discretion. All public comments must be relevant or germane to board business. Finally, it is my responsibility to preserve the order and decorum of the meetings. As such, profane, slanderous, discriminatory, or personal attacks will not be tolerated. Anyone wishing to offer public comment or put anything on the record about yesterday's election, please step forward. Please state your name for the record.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Rich Garrett from Protect Our Vote Philly. I have a couple of topics I want to mention. One is you have a. Are you saying that I should only comment on
yesterday's election? Oh no.
What about on the other agenda items? No, you can go. So one of them is about the purchase of an electronic pollbook system, and the second one is about Voting Rights Act Section 203. On the electronic pollbook approval, which I guess you plan to do today, we have a couple of very serious concerns. One of them is we noticed that the cost of these pollbooks is now $6.6 million. The former pollbook system, which was rejected only 3 years ago from knowing, was $2.6 million. That's an increase of 150% from what I can tell. That's concerning. It seems to be out of line with what other jurisdictions are paying, but we'd have to do more research, having had only 24 hours to look at this. Secondly, we see that the procurement was done under the same opaque best value procurement process that the express vote excels were done under 3 years ago. The public has never had any input until, I guess, today on this, and once again, we see a procurement that where we can't see how it was arrived at, what the other bids were, and so forth. That's disturbing because $6.6 million is a lot of money. Maybe the biggest one is you may have read and seen in the news that yesterday in Berks County, I believe these very same poll books that you plan to approve today failed in spectacular fashion. Secondly, I would like to say that the Voting Rights Act Section 203, it's really on you folks that voters protected by that act, namely Chinese-speaking, limited English proficiency voters, could not verify their ballots in the way that other voters could, and could not, as far as we could tell, submit write-in votes at all, because there was only an English language keyboard. That's not what the Voting Rights Act guarantees, and it's on you.
We will now move to Commissioner Bluestein for email public comment.
There were no email public comments as of 9:45 a.m. this morning.
We'll now move to old business, and I will call on Garrett Dietz to read the report from the Executive Director.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning, Garrett.
Yesterday's election was generally smooth and ran as expected. We had election board worker shortages in some areas, in part due to late COVID callouts, but we're able to send standby poll workers, staff, or temporary workers to fill those positions. There were no major systemic issues. We scanned 46,710 mail-in ballots by 4:30 p.m. on Election Day. We will continue to scan ballots that arrive after May 10th as the poll books are scanned. And that's it for me.
Thank you. We will now proceed to new business. I have a motion. Since I was elected, I have been an advocate for moving Philadelphia elections into the 21st century by switching to electronic poll books. The previous Board of City Commissioners approved the purchase of electronic poll books in 2019 to be implemented with the new voting system. Unfortunately, there were issues with the pilot election, and the decision was made to cancel the implementation, and ultimately the contract was terminated. This setback was further exacerbated by the pandemic and the resulting budget crunch. This setback, the reissuing of an RFP until earlier this year. As you are aware, the city has strict procurement rules, including confidentiality requirements, which we respect. The selection committee reviewed the responses, issued their recommendations to the procurement department, and we received the procurement's proposed intent to award earlier this week. This proposed intent to award was attached to the agenda for today's meeting and available at the public comment table. While this is a very busy time because of how long it takes to get these projects completed, we cannot wait any longer to have this vote. I would like to have these in place for the 2022 general election, and we will have additional training this summer like we did in 2019. But even though this is an aggressive timeline, we will put these poll books through the paces like we did in 2019 to ensure that they're ready to go. Electronic poll books will be truly transformative to how Philadelphians vote and really allow us to handle the rapid transition we have seen with no excuse mail-in ballots. I am sure you have all noticed that the scanners behind me are not running. Right now, at our other office, a small army of staff are assembled to barcode the paper poll books so that we can clear the ballots that arrived after last Tuesday. This is part of our process to ensure the accuracy of the vote, and it delays results by a couple of days. With electronic poll books, the election day vote history will be automatically uploaded at the end of the night, allowing us to scan all the ballots much faster. Also, to better clarify the cost, the $6.6 million in the proposed intent to award represents the total cost over the life of the contract, which is the initial cost plus the annual maintenance over 5 years. This is comparable to the $5.3 million for equivalent to service under our previous electronic poll book contract and was the lowest bid to this RFP. Therefore, I motion that under authority granted to the Board of Elections under Article 3, Section 302 of the Pennsylvania Election Code, the Board of Elections approve election system and software electronic poll books for use in Philadelphia elections, and we therefore approve of the City of Philadelphia contracting with election system and software for the purchase of poll books with the goal that the new electronic poll book system shall be in use throughout Philadelphia for the 2022 general election on November 8, 2022. All subject to the negotiation and acceptable terms and conditions and the conformance of a contract by the procurement department. Do I have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Bluestein, please call the roll.
Commissioner Deeley?
Aye.
I vote aye. Commissioner Sabir?
Madam Chair, Mr. Bluestein, I just want to commend the board for working hard to get this done. When I took my oath of office, I wanted to make city commissioners more accessible, more transparent, more modernized, and I think the purchase of these e-poll books will do that. But the training, I definitely want to increase our training for communities, primarily we're talking about African American communities and a large population of Philadelphia residents that are on the poverty line, that we do a robust training and outreach with these electronic poll books. My vote is yes for the bill, but we definitely have to get increased training and robust grassroots outreach for this project.
Thank you, Commissioner. The motion to approve ES&S electronic poll books for use and approve contracts with ES&S for purchase passed unanimously. Commissioner Bluestein, do you have any items to be added to today's agenda?
I have none.
Commissioner Sabir, do you have any items to be added to today's agenda?
No, do that.
Thank you, everyone. With no items remaining on the agenda, this meeting is adjourned to the call of the chair. Have a beautiful day.